All I'm going to say is a farming and a fishing video in one day. Wow, you're in, you're in for an absolute treat. That's all I can say. What a Friday bonus you've stumbled upon today, because here's the thing: we've already got the fishing industry, who cried out for years, "Oh, the EU is killing off our industry. It's destroying us. All these terrible EU rules are going to destroy us. So yes, vote leave, vote leave. Oh my God, vote leave. It's the only way we're going to save our industry." Now what's happening? Companies losing hundreds of millions of pounds because they cannot export to the EU quick enough to keep their catch fresh. Boats that used to be able to land their catch in the EU no longer can. Everything that we had been telling the fishing industry on this channel for years came true. And if you think the Tories are going to somehow, magically solve all the problems of the fishing industry, think again, because they ain't. Because it would involve, spending money, which they ain't gonna do. Second of all, they would have to, think creatively in a way to produce policy that would help not only the fishing industry, but the communities as well. Again, they don't want to do that. And we've seen, and I think, I've said it before, I think when we get that infamous headline of "This isn't the Brexit we voted for" on the front page, I think it is going to be led probably by the fishing industry. However, that may not be the case, because as I alluded today, this video is about farming, more specifically British farming. So before we jump into that today, please do remember to hit that like and share button. Also, down below there is a link to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link, and thank you very much to the people that do support my channel that way. So on with the article. So this comes from The Guardian, and the title is "Farmers in UK developed nations face big drops in income post-Brexit." Who knew? Who knew that would happen? Oh, that's right. We'd been saying it since day one. But let's not mince words, because this is not all farmers, as seemed to be the case with the majority of the fishing industry that did overwhelmingly vote to leave. In the analysis, it is very clear that farmers, like most of the nation, were pretty much split 50-50. So, again, this isn't a case of all farmers voted for this. Some did, some very clearly didn't. Now, this goes over Scottish, Welsh and Northern Irish farmers, but ultimately, this is also probably happening to English farmers as well. So, in we go. So, farmers in the UK's devolved administrations are facing substantial cuts to their income as a result of Brexit, which could imperil their ability to protect the countryside, ministers were warned on Thursday. Fergus Ewing, I think that's how you say it. Ewing? Yeah, Fergus Ewing, I think that's it. Yeah. Scotland's Cabinet Secretary for the Rural Economy told the Oxford Farming Council that Scottish farmers would lose out to the tune of 170 million between now and 2025, compared with the subsidies that they could have expected under the EU's Common Agricultural Policy, which provided roughly $3 billion a year across the UK. Major cuts have been imposed on all of the devolved administrations, and without consultation, he said. These were not what the farmers and crofters in Scotland were promised if they were to vote for Brexit. And that's true. A lot of the Leave campaigners, both unofficial and official, both said that when this issue was brought up to them about the issue of farming subsidies, they said, don't worry about it, we'll just replace them. And many people did. And many people believed them. And you're like, the Tories, of course they're not going to subsidise your industry. And it's just like, oh. He also raised concerns about the UK government's switch post-Brexit to a system of public money for public goods, whereby farmers will be paid in future for protecting the countryside by planting trees, nurturing wildlife habitats, and taking necessary measures to prevent flooding. Farmers ain't going to do that, I tell you now. He said, and even he agreed with me, I think the Treasury is intent on removing payments for farmers under the guise of having environmental payments, he said. Unless this is looked at again, we will see the demise of payments over time. And I do not think this is a cynical view. It's already happening. Because the Tories, even though they're the party of British business, aren't going to support British business or even British industries. You know, we only warned you about what the Tories are continuously, even before Brexit, but, you know, you still vote them in. He warned that farmers must continue to be paid for producing food, as well as protecting the countryside. We do not simply believe that food production can simply be left to the market. Once again, free market Tory fundamentalism coming into it, believing that it's okay, the market will sort it out. What if it doesn't? You know, this is why I'm so worried about these guys being in power, because their answer to everything is leave it, the market will sort it out. You know, it really is terrifying when you think that there are people in government right now that think exactly like that. It's terrifying. So anyway, it continues. We are very concerned that cheap imported food may threaten British farming, and argued for legal protections against that. Protections which were refused by the UK government. What a surprise! Leslie Griffiths, the Wales Environmental Minister, said, the recent spending review was very disappointing for Wales. Westminster is providing £2.42 million in replacing for EU subsidies. This falls well short of the Welsh Government expectations. We were told again and again that Wales would not be worse off due to leaving the EU. We consider the settlement to be much worse. Farming is a devolved issue. So, the administrations are in charge of large areas of farming policies, but the subsidies under the EU's common agricultural policies were handled by central government. This is also responsible for replacing that support after Brexit. Again, they're not. We warned against this. We warned people. If you left the EU, you will lose these subsidies. Because even then, they were saying, oh yeah, we'll replace it. With what? Again, and you have it now that they are, and we are starting to see it already, that we were better off in the EU than we are now. That has to become the now main rallying cry, and I hope it's going to come from a lot of these industries, because it won't take long. I mean, you can imagine now, you know, the protest that happened during the referendum of the fishermen coming down the Thames and protesting to leave the EU. We could see now those exact same people doing that exact same style of protest, saying we want back into the EU because we were better off in there than we are now. George Eustace, the Secretary of State for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, insisted that farmers would benefit from Brexit, including, quote, through plans to allow the gene editing of crops and livestock. If we are to deliver the ambitions we have for the environment and make space for nature, then we must rebalance the incentives for our future agricultural policy and encourage sustainability, he said. So essentially he's going to allow GM food and GM crops. Now, hold on for a second, because I am for GM food, GM crops. I do not see a problem with it so long as it's safe. And currently, all the science points to it being safe. So I'm not against GM farming or GM crops. I understand why people worry about it, but the science is there and suggests that it is safe. Anyway, he continues. Farmers in devolved administrations also have serious concerns about efforts to rewild the countryside. The conference heard Ewan Potts, the Northern Ireland Executive Minister for Agriculture, said, "Rewilding has been a complete and total failure, compared with utilising the assets we have for food productions in ways that benefit the environment in some way." Ewing said, Scotland needed a different solution. More people. We have no plans whatsoever to introduce new species such as the wolverine. I want to see a reopening of rural Scotland. We want to bring people back into the equation. Most of Scotland is rural and sparsely populated, he said. And there was a mixed reception for Eustace's plans of gene editing. While many farmers welcomed the steps, there were concerns about how it could affect trade with the EU. Ewing pointed out that the EU itself was re-evaluating the potential of gene editing, and this could change its stance within the next few months to allow such techniques. Eustace's responses, we do not have to be hanging on the coattails of Brussels and see what they do first. Once we remove EU politics, we can run a better system. So far, every single devolved administration that is in charge of farming is against you, and I wouldn't be surprised if the National Union of Farmers was also heavily against what he was saying. So once again, we have another group who 50-50 wise, it was a very split, voted for Brexit, and they're now saying, well, actually, we were better off in the EU. So, as always, thanks for watching. Please do remember to hit that like and share button on your way out. And of course, down below, there is a link to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link. And thank you very much to the people who do support me that way. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.